Hey everyone, and welcome to this video on cause and effect, how to write your cause and effect essay. I'm going to make this very easy to follow, so you now probably have your cause and effect essay topic, and you have some thoughts on whether you're focusing on causes or effects, and now it's a question of where you're going from there. So this video I'll talk to you about the structure of the cause and effect essay, how to formulate your cause and effect thesis statement, how to structure the essay as a whole, how to introduce it, how to conclude it, everything that you need to know in order to complete your cause and effect essay, hopefully successfully, for this class. So let's get started.
All right, let's say you were to choose a topic like the popularity of fast food chains. One of the questions that may come up is, why are fast food chains popular? You can answer that question through a cause and effect essay, where you're focused on the causes, the why side of why a fast food chain is popular or why fast food chains are popular. There may be many causes, but for the purpose of your essay, 800 to 1,000 words, you can't talk about everything. So you want to focus. So let's say you choose 3 causes, your 3 whys. Let's say we were to write a cause and effect essay about that, but a cause and effect essay that focuses on the causes. So let me just give you a very brief overview of how or what needs to go into the structure of that essay. So just like any other essay, you need an introduction, you need body paragraphs, and you need a conclusion. And just like any essay, or at least most essays, it would be helpful to start with a hook, something interesting to grab your reader's attention. It could be a quote about fast food restaurants, it could be a statistic, perhaps the percentage of people who eat fast food every day in a specific place. And it all depends on what your topic is going to be, because the topic, popularity of fast food chains, it's quite broad, but one thing that I always tell you is try and narrow your topic a little bit. So let's say you were talking about fast food chain popularity with teenagers or students or professionals or whatever. So all of that will determine what goes into the content of your essay. Then you give some background information, maybe the certain age groups that it's particularly popular with, the money that fast food chains make, anything that really that has to do with the background information would go here, and then that would lead us to the thesis statement, which would contain the causes and the effect, although it doesn't actually have to say these are the 3 causes. I'm going to give you a couple of examples or an example of how you can do it, and also I'll leave some examples as well on Blackboard if you feel like you need more feedback on this. So let's say with the body paragraphs, you can start with, so this is paragraph 2, cause 1. So it's convenient and easy. People don't have time to wait or cook, for example. So I would turn this into a main point that shows that one of the causes for the popularity of fast food, let's say for young professionals, is that it's convenient and easy for them, especially that they don't have a lot of time to wait to get their food or for delivery or to cook or whatever. So that's just one example. Cause number 2 might be that it's popular for young professionals, if we're focusing on young professionals, for example, because of the taste and the variety of fast foods. Number 3, I'd look at marketing. How do fast food chains market their food and the options that they have and the variety and all of that? How do they market it, and how do they especially target certain audiences? And I'd look at the audience that I'm focused on in this particular essay. In the conclusion, I would restate my thesis. I'd also go back to the introductory hook, make a connection. Maybe there's something I can say about the quote or the statistic I included. It doesn't hurt at the end to sort of remind us of what was going on in the beginning and maybe make a connection. So maybe if you talked about a statistic that was very striking in the beginning, in the conclusion you could say, given the causes that were mentioned in this essay, it is perhaps not surprising that the statistic, and you refer back to the statistic that you referred to in the introduction, shows whatever it is that it shows. So it's like a full circle, bringing everything together and wrapping it up. So introduction, body, conclusion, cause 1, cause 2, cause 3. Now let's take a look at how would you actually structure the paragraph. So if this again is one that's focused on causes, you go to main point 1. So over here our cause 1 is that it's convenient and easy. So fast food can be ordered and delivered quickly, which makes it especially appealing to people who don't have a lot of time to spend on cooking or eating meals. Let's say I was talking about teenagers, I would say maybe especially appealing to teenagers, young professionals, whatever it is that I would be focusing on. So you can narrow the topic here. Then I'd add a sentence with a little bit more information on this main point, just to elaborate. What is it, for instance, about young professionals or teenagers or students or whoever you're focused on? What are their lives like in terms of, how much time they have to get food during the day, something along those lines. Just expand a little bit. You can also add an example before moving to your subpoint. So the subpoint, or your first subpoint after your main point, I'm just giving an example here. You could talk about how quickly it takes to get or order fast food, about the convenience of fast food delivery. Let's say you're focused on delivery. Maybe you focus in your first main point on delivery and also picking up the food or even dining in. It depends on what you want to focus on. Just every subpoint, each subpoint must be related to the main point, which ultimately must be related to your thesis statement. Everything needs to be connected. Once you're done with your subpoint, you should add a source. That's what I recommend. Maybe a research journal article, a statistic, expert opinion, before moving on to subpoint 2. Maybe subpoint 1 is about how quickly it is to fast food delivers is much quicker, for instance, than asking a proper restaurant, or I say proper, but like another restaurant to deliver. Maybe the drive-through options would be subpoint number 2. Maybe you have a subpoint number 3 that talks about something else. So here is like what you need to have in terms of just a basic structure. You could add a little bit more, but what I do recommend is that you at least have all of what's here. Then you conclude your paragraph and you transition to the next point. So this is basically, very basically, and I repeat myself again, what it would look like if you had a cause-focused cause and effect essay structure. What if it was based on the effects? And again, just to remind you, there are several ways to write a cause and effect paper. Some cause and effect papers are focused on both the causes and the effects. But for the purpose of this assignment, I just want you to focus on either the causes or the effects. So if you're going to focus on the effects instead of the causes, still you need an introduction, you still need body paragraphs and a conclusion, and simply the difference would be, obviously the topic would change. If I still want to talk about fast food restaurants, maybe I would talk about the effects that fast food has on people's health, for example, or the effect that this popularity of fast food chains has had on people's lifestyles or people's health. Maybe the first, and this would be an effect instead of cause, the first effect would be maybe obesity, maybe it's caused people to gain weight, other, illnesses, maybe, I'm not sure, I'm just sort of making this up, diabetes, let's say, or some other things, cholesterol, or whatever it is that, may have be an effect of this. And then paragraph number 4, cause number 3 may have nothing to do with illnesses, but maybe it will be about like sort of one of the effects is that, the way that fast food goes, or because it's so easy to eat and quickly to eat, perhaps, and again I'm making this up, perhaps this is something that does come to my mind. It's changed the dynamics in terms of sitting down on a table, eating together, a proper meal, having a conversation. So these are the kinds of things that you would look at, and then you would conclude. So yeah, so this is, perhaps you can screenshot this, you can take a look at it, obviously you can ask me questions, but these are the basics of how to structure and to build the paragraphs. Obviously here, this is main point 1, you do the same for main point 2 and main point 3, depending on whether you're focusing on the causes or effects. This is like the no stress, easy way to get it all done. So we cannot forget about our thesis statement. So how do you write a thesis statement for a cause and effect paper? It really depends on whether you want to focus on the causes or if you want to focus on the effects. So which side you're focusing on. Now, for the purpose of this paper, you could simply say something along the lines, due to cause number 1, cause number 2, and cause number 3, fast food restaurants are popular. You could tweak the statement to make it more specific, like add, for instance, where, in which country, or what demographic, teenagers, young professionals, age group. So the more specific your thesis statement is, the stronger, I mean, some thesis statements can be more general and still be good, but for the purpose of this essay, so that you can find specific research articles to write some support and support your thoughts, etc., it would be useful for it to be more specific. If you're focusing on the effects, you can say something along the lines of, the popularity of fast food restaurants has resulted in effect 1, effect 2, and effect 3. There are certain transitional phrases that you can use that signal cause and effect. I'll post those as well on Blackboard to help you so you can use them in your essay. But really, this is pretty much how to write a cause and effect essay, a very basic one, or at least one way to write a cause and effect essay. If you have any questions, of course, please do let me know. And yep, we are all done.